Welcome back, everyone. It's Seven from London coming back with another installment of episode two of Divine Truth News. And this is part two. We just spoke a little bit about the Meghan situation and Jeremy Clarkson writing foul, um, very foul comments towards hate speech really towards Meghan Markle. Go watch that. Our brother gave us some interesting scriptural passages to consider. And we want to talk a little bit about uh, this whole situation for us as a people. Um, I'm going to let brother come in here. We talking about reparations. We have been violated as a people, used, abused, exploited. Most people talk about slavery as a past tense situation, but actually it's current. They are running slavery right now. If you don't mind, I wouldn't mind just sharing the screen quickly so that you can see in terms of, let me see if I can show you an image of what, let me get rid of that one.
And Seven, while you're pulling that up, if I can just make a quick comment on something that you mentioned in the last segment that I thought
Okay.
was profound, and you were talking about how people frown upon people self-identifying as victims when something happened to them. And to your point, I would love to see the world get away from being selective about when to use that word, because if you think about it, for comparison, someone who's swimming out in California or Hawaii or off the coast of Australia or something that gets bitten in a shark attack is a victim of a shark bite or a victim of a shark. If you're jogging down the street and someone's dog runs out of the yard and bites you, you're a victim of a dog attack. So why is it okay to say you're a victim of a dog attack or a shark attack, but then when another human being who perhaps sees themselves above you attacks you, it's not okay to say you're a victim? Oh, you're not being strong by saying so. Hogwash. I don't know if that's that's
Yeah, it's true because, I mean, in law, you have to have a victim to have a crime.
that's right.
And so it's a very manipulative how they sort of socially engineer things. For instance, I give you a prime modern day example of this. In the UK, there has been the violation of espionage, hacking people's phones, you know, um, illegal surveillance. There's a whole culture. It's all over the world. It's not just in the UK, it's in the US. There are targeted individuals that I know in the US as well. And please go on to www.backoff.live, Live, to have a look at some other targeted individuals as well in the US as in the UK. But just as an example of what I mean there, in law, it's a crime to hack somebody's computer, to hack somebody's files, or hack, people we know people have been extradited for hacking into the Pentagon and all these different things. And so in the UK, they had something called the hacking scandal. I think it was in 2010, 11, 12, around that time. And there was a big thing called the Leveson inquiry. It was huge because they found out that the tabloids and all sorts of people, criminally minded people, were hacking into people's phones and tapping in the computer. Before we had Watergate, and it established that these types of wiretapping is criminal, right? It's all part of corruption. So, in order to validate it, they created this thing called hack. Oh, we've got a new hack now, you know. Uh, and I watched this happen. I watched the people getting socialized. And then
Mm-hmm.
so all of a sudden, oh, I've got this great new hack, in
Mm-hmm.
otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
to make it acceptable to hack now.
Yeah, they watered it down.
Not just watered it down, they made it something that people want to do. You want to get a hack.
Right, right. That's even worse.
They want
Wow.
to get a hack. It's like conspiracy theory. Conspiracy in law is when two or more people come together to either commit a crime or conceal a crime. That's a conspiracy in law, right? But
Hmm.
in order to invalidate it, they created this thing called conspiracy theory, which has the
Right.
reverse meaning. It means that what you're talking is hogwash. It
Right.
doesn't exist. What you're saying is crap. But actually, in law, a conspiracy is part of the criminal law, criminal act. And so what we're seeing is the whole situation with divine principles, because in humanity, everybody knows what's wrong and right,
Hmm.
right? We all know that for thousands and hundreds and thousands of years, hundreds of years, we as a people have a history. We have a real history as a people. We never just came off slave ships.
No.
We
No.
come, we are from royalty. We come from very high vibrational ancestry. If we
Yes.
look at the Olmecs, the Dogons, and we
Hmm.
go back in time historically, and we see all the amazing things that we've done. And what we're seeing is the biblical story. I think Dave and I, shout out to Dave. Dave and I spoke about this in the first episode of the Divine Truth News. And, this whole Esau and Jacob story, the stealing of a birthright, stealing of an earthright. So basically, because they've stolen our earthright, they have been vicariously people living as us. I mentioned before, I will do it in one of the episodes, but I'll show you that they actually got a woman and gave her my name, and she's blonde, a white girl, in order to erase me. They gave my identity to a white blonde girl, and it's something that they've been doing historically. So now what we come back to is this whole Jacob and Esau story, and going back from the beginning of time is playing out right now in society, whereby people have been living off our earthright. They've been creaming, eating the cake. They don't want to give us any of it. Even when they torture us, they don't want to recognize it. Even they don't want to. I mean, Megan's story is indicative of that. Behind closed doors, there are people that know she's being abused. They're behind closed doors, just like myself, what they've done to me for 20 years, 2 decades. They know exactly what they're doing is wrong. However, because they're a fake people and they are living off it's like parasitical. They're like parasites. It's like energy vampires. They literally claimed our earthright as their own. They've made themselves the victims. That's why if anybody talks about anything to do with people suffering, oh, the Holocaust, but we had our own Holocaust and it's still going on. Right now, you don't see there's a guy called Robin, what was his name? Starbuck, Robbie Star Starbucks. Robbie Starbucks. He was from the entertainment industry.
Hmm.
And he said you don't see executives dying like flies. You see black rappers, black artists, Hendrix, Whitney's daughter. I mean, I'm not saying that European artists haven't died, but not on the magnitude, not on the scale. Slavery is still taking place right now. And so when we talk about reparations, there is no acknowledgement because the thing is, they have to maintain, they cannot let on that they are living us. They actually they've usurped our position. So even in terms of the suffering now, if any of us start crying about suffering, they automatically, it's like we're undermined, we're not recognized, even for the suffering. So they don't hear it, they switch off. This is why they don't want to even they don't want us to even have reparations. But there's a situation that is happening now because right now, the curse that is upon these people, and you know this, the curse and the generational curses that they have brought upon themselves. Speak to us, brother. Here.
You know what? You know what? I've been sitting here like, oh, so I did a video. I did this thing. I started this thing and just kind of just tapered off back in the early part of the summer called Ask the Community. And the first segment I did was regarding Jacob and Esau, believe it or not. Because remember, my position is to illustrate how the Bible is a spiritual book and not a religious book. When you to understand what is going on with Jacob and Esau, and I tell people this. I'm gonna jump aside for a second. Are you familiar with the George Lucas film series back in the 1970s, Star Wars?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is interesting to me now as I look at what's happening in the world, and now that I understand soul energy and I understand spirituality, seeing the parallels between Star Wars and what is happening in the world. This is an ancient war, an ancient struggle, if you will. Let's go back to Jacob and Esau. Okay, we know that Rebecca had twins in her belly, and she was like, "What in the heck is going on here? What's all this rumbling?" And what was the answer to that? You have two nations in your belly. Okay, so and I posit this in my Jacob versus Esau. You can find it on my YouTube channel for anybody watching if you want to go back and look at it.
It's
I
Matt
posit
D Talford, isn't it?
Matt D Talford, yes. Matt Talford or Matt D Talford, it'll pull me up. You'll see
With two
my smiling
T's.
face. Two T's, yes.
Yeah.
What if? I'm not gonna say what if. Let me stop playing. Let me stop playing with it and just give it to you raw, okay? Jacob and Esau. So, what if? I'll say what if. Let me come from that angle. What if? Because think about it. When Jacob came out of the womb, he came out holding on to Esau's heel. Esau came out first. Now we know that in the ancient times, the firstborn was the one that inherited the birthright. We know that. So we also, if you understand soul energy or solar energy, we know that we exist somewhere in the ether before we incarnate. How do we know this? What did the Most High saying to the prophet Jeremiah in the first chapter of Jeremiah? I knew you before I formed you in the womb. Okay, so if he knew you before he formed you in the womb, where were you? You existed. Your soul existed somewhere else. This is why I tell people, get away from this ideology of we're living to reach eternity. We are eternal beings already. We're playing out a role, some mission, something we're doing here, a purpose. We have a purpose for incarnating. If we didn't have a purpose for incarnating, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you like this, and you wouldn't be talking to me. We'd be somewhere in the ether speaking telepathically. Okay, so Jacob comes out holding on to Esau's heel. Why did he do that? What if Esau said, you know what? I know that Most High, you chose Jacob, but I'm going to jump and beat him down the chute, whatever that ethereal chute looks like. So he jumps ahead because he wants to. So who really stole whose birthright? Jacob came out holding on to his heel like, wait a minute, man, get back here. No, that's mine. So let's fast forward it. Esau's like, okay, I'm out first. I know I got this. I'm gonna get the inheritance from my daddy Isaac, and I'm gonna be set up. And what did the Most High said? He said, Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. Why did he hate Esau? He hated Esau before birth. So there's a reason for that. We are unbeknownst to us. But Esau perhaps was a different type of energy. Maybe he was a pick of an enemy of the Most High. Now, we know he's got no real enemies because who can defeat him, right? I mean, but I'm just saying, so Esau comes out. He comes out in position, understanding that on the earth, the firstborn gets the birthright. So what happens? The Most High said, don't worry about that. Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. Jacob, this is going to be your birthright. What does he do? Isaac preferred his son Esau, but Jacob was his mother's pick as well as his grandfather's. They like Jacob. So guess what? When Isaac is getting up in age and he can't see anymore, she sets this thing up. And Jacob was a trickster anyway. So Jacob tricks his brother and gets him out of the way just long enough so that he can go and get the blessing. He gets the blessing. So the
this
blessing
is what's happening, isn't it?
Right. But look at what happened. Now, I want you to see what happened. What if? And these are all what ifs.
Because we're tying this into reparations, right?
Yes. We're going to tie this into reparations.
Right.
Yes. What if what Esau did after this happened to him was said, hey, you know what? This worked for him, and I'm stronger than him. I'm going to do the same thing to him. If he tricked me, I'm going to, if he tricked daddy into believing that I was him, I'm going to trick the world into thinking that I'm Jacob. Because what has happened? What has happened? You got you. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone. So now you tie that and you bring that around, and we're talking about reparations. There's a two part thing to that. One, we know what was stolen, okay, but two, we know why it was stolen,
And
okay,
continues to be stolen.
and continues to be. However, there's a time limit on that. That time is up.
That's
That
what I'm
time is up.
saying.
We got to speak those things that are not as though they were. We have awakened now. What was written in the book of Romans, I believe, the Apostle Paul said, he said, for this cause the spirit of slumber has fallen upon the children of Israel. Listen, the Israelites were some of the most wicked people on the face of the earth to each other. So there was a bunch of wickedness going on even within the tribes. So they were killing the prophets. They didn't want to hear the truth. So the Most High said, let me put them to sleep. I'll do it in the end. Now, along comes this Messiah, and I know some people don't believe in it. I saw Dave's perspective on it. I believe in the Messiah. I don't get into the whole name thing because we understand how name semantics work and vibrations and all of that. I'm just dealing with the energy, okay, and the
That's
teaching,
right.
okay. He comes along and he delivers these messages in secret via parables, and he's telling you what's going to happen. He said, you know what? In the end, so he gives the parable of the wheats and the tares, and he says, hey, you know what? Master, there are weeds growing among, there are tares growing among the wheat. Should we go out there and pull them up? It's like, nah, it's too soon. You go out there and you go after those tares, you're going to destroy some of the good wheat too. Just leave them, let them grow together. In the end, my father's going to send the reapers. Okay, and I'm tying this in, but we seeing all of these UFO stories now, and they're, before they said these things didn't exist. Now it's open discussion on mainstream media. Okay, he said in the end, I'm going to send my reapers, and they're going to gather the wheat and place them in the barn, and the tares they're going to bundle them up and put them in the fire. All of this goes together. All of this goes together. What does the tare do? A tare looks like wheat until the harvest comes. Then you know which one is which. You know which one is bearing fruit and which one has no fruit on it. Now, what did he say? He said, you're going to know a tree by its fruit, the fruits that he bears. And then he goes into all of these high vibrational descriptions of the trees that bear fruit. If you ain't bearing high vibrational fruit, we know that you're a tare. Okay. So this is why we always talk about keeping the vibrations high and not getting into these low vibrational things. So what happens now is we're in the season now where the reaping is about to begin. You look at what's happening around the world, ecologically. Look at what's happening around the world. Climate. Look at what's happening around the world.
I want to share the screen because I want to show you, because
I'm
right
sorry,
now
I got
everything.
down the side street there. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. That's perfect. It's perfect because it's true. What we're seeing is this whole Esau Jacob story coming to a close. That is what end times is, really.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing like all the services in the UK. I want to show you, there is a very important slide so that everybody knows. There's so much stuff going on, people. There's so much to bring to you, so many stories I want to show you. But this one, let me see if I can make this bigger. Yeah. Okay, so I want to show you just what is going on around the world, because basically the whole place is breaking down. You know, let me find share screen, same screen. Sorry, I'm actually staring at things on the screen. Beside, I'm just aligning something to show it to you. So let me just go here. I want to show you this because this is indicative of end times. Can you see what I'm showing to you here?
Yes, it looks like some sort of schedule or something.
Yeah, basically, these are all the services in the UK that are now striking. They're
Ooh,
refusing to work, refusing to play ball. And this is indicative. I'm trying to just make this share screen go out of the way. How can I get it out?
I can see it fine.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that you can see it. So basically, we got the health workers. This is from December, and this is the timetable. And we're seeing, I mean, this is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this on the scale that we're seeing it. I don't know, I just tried to make it bigger. I don't think it got bigger. But anyway, basically you have health workers, the rail services, buses, highway workers, Royal Mail, driving examiners, ambulances, border force control. I mean, the whole country is literally collapsing
Mm,
because we have this paradigm of this greedy people who have usurped everything and they want everything for themselves. And
mhm,
basically, they've created a culture of literally, they're trying to create a slave class. They're
mm.
trying to reverse it because of the fact, and I'll come out of this. I wanted to just show you because this is indicative of what is going to happen. This is all up until, this is up until Christmas. Then we have 26, 27 border force, baggage handlers, driving examiners, buses, all the whole place is collapsing. So
Right.
we've got January, and this is all the beginning of January, and it just this is the timetable and what it looks like that is folding. The whole country is in revolt because of greed, because of avarice, because of this Esau, this. You see, they're trying to reverse it hundreds of years. They're trying to create a slave class. So the have and the have-nots, there's a massive
Yeah.
divide because the time is up, as you've explained, the time is up as far as the prophecy is concerned.
Yes.
You see, because obviously the 600 years ended in 2019,
Oh, the
right?
400 years, you
So
mean?
the 400 years,
Yeah.
sorry,
Hmm.
forgive me. I wanted to say
No, I
1619.
understand. I understand. Yeah.
So that's 400 years ended in the 20 on the 21st of August 2019. So obviously the prophecy, because they understand karma and they understand the prophecy because they use it. This is what
Hmm.
we've got gematria and
Hmm.
all of these principles that they're using. They're putting it in plain sight, what is happening. We see in movies, it's all embedded in movies. But what's happening is they have got a grip on the resources and they don't want to let it go. Right now, I just found out, and we have to talk about this in one of in our episode 3. Maybe we can talk about this, but they've just done. I don't know if you know, but when they did COVID-19, they had something called Event 201. Do you know
I
about?
know about that. I know about that. Yep.
They've just done another one, and it's a new. And in October, they on the 23rd of October, they just did another one of those simulated, and it's going to introduce a new virus, which
Well,
is
that's
deadly.
interesting that they did that in October because the first event 201 they did was also in October of 2019. So I
Right.
find that very interesting. But again, what they're doing is they're trying to speed up their own timelines. But I don't know if you've ever seen one of those espionage movies or police movies where someone has a time bomb. And what happens is they send somebody in there to defuse it. When you cut the wrong wire, the clock speeds up. Okay. So you
Uh-huh.
cannot stop prophecy. When you try to stop prophecy, all you do is speed it up. Now, with regards to reparations, let me tell you, this conversation has come up in a number of my own circles over the past few years, 2 or 3 years. And the majority of the people I've spoken with do not like my position. I will share that position with you. I am one of the ones that don't ask for reparations. I will not ask for reparations. And here's why. Because I understand the scriptures totally. You cannot repair me. What is the root word of reparations? Repair. You cannot repair me when you did not break me. All you were was the tool that broke me. This breaking that happened to us. This can be tied to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, because Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, is what I call conditional prophecy. If you look at the first 14 verses 1 through 14 of Deuteronomy 28, he's telling the children of Israel all of the beautiful things that he will do for them if they just do what he is instructing, not commandments, because I've said this on my channel a number of times. Commandments are things when the Most High commands something, it is so. He does. These are not commandments; they're instructions. You can follow them or not. This was a conditional prophecy. If you do these things, I'm going to set you above all nations of the earth. Okay. If you stray away from these instructions, I'm going to make you servant to you're not gonna be the top, you're gonna be the bottom. I'm gonna make you the servant of these other people. Now, if you understand the strength of the Israelite, I did a video called Israelite 333 Israelite Awakening on my channel. If you understand the strength of the Israelite, you understand why such a small number of Israelites could go into the battle against a force that was 10, 15, 20 times their size and rout them. Okay, why was that, Matt? That was because you look at the offspring. They are the offspring of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. What did Jacob do? Jacob wrestled an angel till the crack of dawn. All right. Now, a lot of people don't. I like to look at the why with everything. Okay, that's the what. What is the why? I believe personally, and this is just my own theory, but I believe that was a proof of concept, if you will. He says, okay, I built this man. This is the man I selected. This was my pick to be the progenitor of this great nation. Okay, underneath Abraham, who was his own brand of strength. Okay, so he's the grandson of Abraham. People don't deal with the battles that Abraham won. Nobody talks about how Abraham went and rescued Lot. Okay, he got like 300 of his servants. These weren't even trained armies. This is how powerful these men were. These were not even trained standing armies. They said, hey, we got something to do, y'all. Suit up. Let's go. Let's go. We got something to do. Suit up. Okay. So they suited up, went, and they rescued Lot and destroyed these people. Say, okay, Lot, you probably don't need to live over there because these people are crooked over here where you're trying to live. What did he do? He went anyway. Abraham's telling them that basically came to fruition when the cities got destroyed. Okay, we know that. But getting back to Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, I believe that was a proof of concept. See, if he had lost that wrestling match with that angel, I believe the Most High would have had to say, all right, let me start over. This ain't the mold. This ain't the mold. He's not ready. But he lasted until the angel fouled him. The angel had to foul him to get him off. And that was like the Most High saying, okay, he's ready now. He can be the progenitor of these strong, mighty men. So you see what happened was these mighty men got beside themselves. And the Most High said, okay, even though I created you stronger, I made you the superhero. I made you the Avengers, talking about the movie The Avengers. A lot of people don't know how to see through that. But talking about the movie The Avengers, there's a passage of scripture that talks about that. I believe it's Isaiah 40. I'll have to look it up. But these Israelites, we Israelites, we have a purpose, a special divine purpose. Okay. But again, we got to get out of the religious aspect of it and see it from an eternal nature. All of this stuff swirls together. So to get back to my point, I don't ask for reparations because the Most High promised to break us. And I see we got about 10 minutes left. The Most High promised that he was going to break us if we strayed away from the instruction. And he did that. He just used these. He basically said, okay, if I created you to be above somebody and you follow them and I told you not to, then I'm going to put you beneath them and make you a servant to them. But I'm only going to do it for a period. When you wake up and remember who you are and wake up and remember whose you are, then I'm going to pull you out of that situation. Now, there's a time in history, things end the way they begin. This is why books have bookends. They call it a bookend. You got the front cover and the back cover. They look identical. Okay, one might have writing on it, but aside from the writing, they call them bookends for a reason. If you look at how this captivity thing started, it started with the Egyptians. He said, hey, let them go. Let them go. Nah, we ain't letting them go. Let them go. I'm going to tell you one more time. Let them go. Oh, y'all ain't going to let them go? Boom, 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 boom. When the Most High break you, you ain't never powerful again. The Kemet, let's deal with Kemet. Ancient Kemet never rose to power again after the Most High broke their back. Where are they today? Where are they today? We see Rome. All Rome did was decentralize. They just decentralized. Rome is everywhere. They're all over the earth. But you got to understand Daniel, the 2nd chapter, to understand where we are right now in that prophetic timeline. This is it. We're the feet. This current system that's running this world is the feet of a 3,000-year-old system that started with the head being Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. So this is it. This is the part where the stone comes out of the sky, smites the statue on his feet, and it topples. It could happen any day. It could literally happen any day. I wouldn't be.
Yeah,
People talk about
it's written, isn't it? So we're talking about the Mene Tekel Parson, which is the writings on the wall with Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel to kind of he asked him to kind of, what was it, interpret his dream, which was basically that said your kingdom is wanting, you know. Now my thing is that everything that they have taken from us is ours and they're going to have to pay it back. You know, there is talk about there is acknowledgement. I don't know if it's Lloyd's Bank, but I heard some stories about reparations that I think they were offering 200,000, 200 and such thousand. I can't remember who it was that was talking, and they were saying that it was too much. I think Brother Umar Johnson, he referenced it at some point. And shout out to Brother Umar. He's such a brilliant, brilliant scholar, that man. I just think the brother's knowledge is amazing.
Hmm.
The thing is that I hear what you're saying, and you're talking prophecy, and their time is finished. We know their time is finished. This is why they're desperate to introduce another COVID scenario. Apparently, they've got a new one, which is going to be worse than COVID, and they're about to lock down again. They're doing 15-minute cities whereby you won't be able to go from 15 minutes from where you live, and this is what's all in the work. So when it's event 201 was this year, so by next year they'll be rolling out new lockdowns and telling us we're all, we need to have these more jabs, because we're starting to see the death toll. You're starting to see people die suddenly now, and that's
There's a
going to be
documentary on that.
increasing. Yeah,
Yeah,
die suddenly. Yeah. So basically, there is a lot of people that are dying, and there's going to be more and more and more and more. And I'm sorry if you can hear Brother Stephen snoring in the
I don't hear it. I don't hear it.
background.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't hear it.
Yeah, but yeah, that's basically a major thing. So right now they recognize karmically, you cannot do the amount of evil that has been done to us as a people, steal our earth right, and
Hmm.
think that you are going to be come, bring it all back again. This prophecy is it's over for them, and they need to accept that. Then the thing is that they don't want to accept it. They
Yeah.
don't want to accept, they don't want to return the money that is stolen. They want to give it to us, and they want to give it to us grudgingly. They abuse you, and they do not want to take any accountability for the fact that they're abusing. This is why, they're very, you ask them to apologize. You shouldn't have to ask somebody. If I do
Yeah.
something to you,
Yeah.
and I recognize I've done something to you, you should be able to look at yourself and say, you know what, that was out of order. I
Yeah.
don't know what came about me. None of us are perfect as human beings. Let me see what I can do from this position of acknowledging, like you were saying in part one, you show people the mirror and they look at themselves. But we're dealing with a people
Hmm.
hard of heart people that do not feel that they ever need to be accounted, because as far as they're concerned, they are us. They're entitled. And that's part of the Luciferian construct, the Luciferian culture, is that they feel entitled to use and abuse. They're proud of it.
Hmm.
They're proud of being. There's a channel, I can't remember, it's an ex-BBC guy that was working in BBC, and he's interviewing all these psychopaths, right, and narcissists. And it's worth listening to. His name is Andrew Gold on YouTube.
I think I've heard of his name. Yes.
It's quite new, but he started to interview all of these psychopaths, people that do gruesome things to other people. And basically, it gives you a window into the mindset of the kind of people we're dealing with. They believe that they're superior, they believe that they're entitled, they believe that what is yours is theirs. They believe in murdering. That's Jezebel's spirit as well. And that's something we need to really talk about. That's the Jezebel spirit. But I would say, just to talk into last note on reparations, run the check.
You know what?
Check.
as we
Run
say,
that check.
as we say
All
in the
right.
United States here, run me my money. All right, run me my
Run
money.
me my money. You can start with my money. Let me quickly show my money, brother, because I want to show this. Let me share the screen quickly so that so
Okay.
people can see what kind of, this is me here. And these are
I
all,
love that picture, by the way. That's a lovely photo.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. This is all my famous shows. And this is not even This is not even 10% of what they've stolen from me.
Wow.
You know, these are all famous shows: Strictly Come Dancing, Dancing with Stars, You Are What You Eat, 10 Years Younger. It is the same people. They've done it to us as a people. We've been upholding these people for centuries, and this is the end of it.
Well, we got to understand something, Seven, and
End of
this
it.
is something you smacking that thing, shutting it
Yeah,
down.
I'm speaking it.
I heard that. Listen, I think that every person, and I don't have that book in here. I think I took it home, but every one of us, okay, us needs to own a copy of the complete works of Flavius Josephus. And let me explain why. I've heard
We've got
different.
just over 1 minute.
Okay, I'll make this quick. There's some people that say, "Oh, Flavius Josephus was a Greek convert that was fighting against the Roman." Listen, if when people understand what happened in the Renaissance, they glorify the Renaissance when we were in grade school. Oh, the Renaissance was this period where art was revived. No, the Renaissance was the period after the so-called Moors were driven off the Iberian Peninsula. That was the period of reclaiming and whitewashing hundreds of years of history. Okay. So my point is, if they did it there, then they did it further back. Flavius Josephus was a brother. I'm sorry. He was a brother. Okay. Flavius Josephus, he wrote a book called The Complete Works of Flavius Josephus. Everyone needs to have a copy of that because it amplifies the stories of the Old Testament. If you're looking at antiquities of the Jews, and Wars of the Jews is the story of your ancestors. Okay. Who else could hold off the Roman legions, 3 Roman legions for 5 months with no food in their stomach? Okay, that took
Wow.
some mighty strength. I know we're
Wow.
about to shut down, so maybe we could talk about it in the next. But everybody
Yes.
needs to own a copy of that book because that's your history. That is
Yes.
your history.
We'll put a link in the description. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Share this everywhere, people. And much love. We'll see you again in part 3. Signing off for now. Peace out, everybody.